Students speak with the richness, the freshness of their own culture, and they have to struggle to articulate what is their country about. Again, when you read a history book, you get a certain point of view, a certain integration of historical facts. But especially in this world that is changing so quickly, where today India does so much of the computer work for the entire world, and these Indians who are here grew up in that world, they have a point of view on the entire world that is important for us to hear. And there's a kind of a magic in that, because we're seeing the world being recreated through the understandings, experiences, and image of these people. So the Indians and the Ukrainians would be the two largest ethnic groups that are here. But then you hear a story of a woman, an Orthodox woman, who was working with suffering people in Syria, and felt that she had to leave Syria for a while to get some perspective on what she was doing. So the story that she brings is raw flesh and blood. It's human suffering. It's the human face of what we're reading every day in the paper. And you can look at the dramatic moments of so-called surgical bombings, and this happens and that happens, or lobbying between different groups, or a conversation in Geneva. But when you hear a woman from the field talking about what has happened with wounded children, it changes your perspective on exactly what the nature of war is and what the nature of this international politics is that doesn't seem to see the suffering that's caused in people's lives. And once again, although she may be speaking about the experience in Syria, it touches a man who's here from Egypt, who had lived through the Arab Spring in Egypt. And he could see that his country was on the verge of the very same kind of thing. So the experiences that he had to bring into hers, and the conversation that happened there. Then let's go to the former Soviet Union, because there are still leftovers in the cultures of the countries that were in the Soviet Union. So to hear the Ukrainians and the Romanians react, Bulgarians react to what the Syrians and the Egyptians are saying about the conflicts in their period, with the whole memory of conflicts in the Soviet Union, and the pressures of trying to form a modern democracy in a globalized context today, as in Ukraine, with these vestiges, with a neighbor that doesn't want you to go in the direction that you want to go. How do you find your way? And it's not simply a war between two nations, it's nations trying to figure themselves out in this globalized world. So once again, it makes for this extraordinary laboratory, very human laboratory of conversation in which nobody knows the answer. But these conversations are what create the present and the future, and they're so important.